everyone. Thanks for checking out the PCSS Connection Podcast this week. You know, it's the time of the year when we select our District Teachers of the Year. Yes, the District Teacher of the Year at the elementary level is Dana Carr from Baxter Primary. The Teacher of the Year at the middle school level is Taylor Dyer at Allgood Middle. And the Teacher of the Year at the secondary level or high school level is Jessica Jackson at Vital. And joining us now is Miss Dana Carr, the Elementary School Teacher of the Year from Baxter Primary. And Dana, first of all, congratulations. What does it mean to be the District Teacher of the Year?
Thank you very much. It is a great honor. And when you guys actually came to visit my classroom that day, I forgot to mention the first and foremost, I want to give the credit to God, first and foremost, just because of all the blessings that He has bestowed upon all of us. And, you know, without Him, we would be nothing and have nothing. So,
Right.
You know, I am very grateful for all of the blessings and the abilities that He has blessed me with. And again, to be considered from your school, that they have enough courage and admiration for you to vote for you, and then to be able to come to the district and interview with you guys and be able to go through that process and then be chosen for that. It's a great honor. Honor.
I can tell you there's some great teachers in Putnam County, and being on the committee that, you know, helped select the Teachers of the Year. There's so many good candidates, and I just remember from your interview the compassion and just how much you showed how much you love your kids. You know, that weighs a ton, as do all the teachers, and that's what's so great. We've got Taylor Dye on here in just a little bit, and she'll talk. But when we came in your classroom, I know you were surprised, and your kids were surprised. It seemed like it was so neat to see you in your environment.
Yes, and I actually had a little guy next to me that I was doing an assessment with. And you can hear him in the video. I went back to watch him, and his little voice is just so sweet in the video. And the kids, they're so happy for you. They if we can learn to be half as much as our kids are, they can teach us many, many lessons every day.
Now, what grade are you teaching at Baxter Primary?
I'm teaching first grade.
Okay. And how long have you been at Baxter Primary?
Oh, well, this is going on my 19th year there.
Wow. 19 years at Baxter Primary. Have you always taught first grade?
No, I actually, when I first graduated, this is going to tell my age. When I first graduated in 2004, I taught a half that next semester at Defeated Creek Elementary in first grade. And it was actually a split classroom where they didn't have another room. So I got to team teach with a kindergarten and first grade in the same room.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so they were a very small school at that time. And then I went to my hometown the next fiscal year and taught a year in kindergarten there. My husband and I got married, and we moved over here. And
now, where was your hometown?
At Salina.
Oh, okay,
Clay County now, you know, the high school.
Right.
But yes, I taught at Salina KA for a year. And then once we moved here, I taught kindergarten for 10 years. And then when my daughter was coming into kindergarten, I had the opportunity when our school split. The interventionist went to the elementary side of it, and then the principal asked if I would step into the intervention role. And I don't like change. Nobody really does. It's very uncomfortable. But my husband and I say we sit on the front porch and solve the world's problems. So we talked through it, and he's like, just go for it. Just try it out. And of course, you know, the first time that you go into something new, you never really know what's behind the scenes.
Right.
And then, of course, there's a lot of eye-opening experiences. Every experience that you get to have, it just gives you a whole different perspective. And then I taught, of course, was in intervention for 7 years. And then 2 years ago, the kindergarten classroom, they had went through some different employees, and Miss Marsha asked me at the end of that school year with 2 months left, and she asked if I would fill in for the rest of that school year. So I finished up that kindergarten year with those kiddos. And of course, with different situations, different things, they weren't quite where they needed to be. So again, my husband and I sat on the front porch and solved the world's problems again. And so I then decided to go loop up with him into first grade. last year, and I got to have a really, really strong bond with those kiddos just by that experience
Right.
of looping up with them. And then I decided that I liked having this new experience,
Yeah.
and of course you never really feel like that you've got it all under control,
Yeah.
and so I need to have more stuff in its place to feel like a little bit more of where I need to be. So I really enjoyed the opportunity to loop up and to teach first grade now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your background. You said you were from Salina. Just, what got you into the teaching profession?
Oh, well, I was just like every other child, probably. I thought I wanted to be a marine biologist. I wanted to be a lab tech. I go through all of this, a veterinarian, then I find
Yeah.
out how much schooling a veterinarian has
and
to
math.
have. And, so, and then I finally realized that I did have a strong connection with my cousins and small children, and that, I did think that would be a good avenue for me to take, just so that I was able to have a family connection
Right.
within education and be able to be with my own kids when we had breaks and things and stuff, and then also to be able to be involved with the families and children that I have in my classroom.
Yeah.
And the philosophy of education always comes up, and the one thing that I can always remember is that that I had written in there years and years ago was that if I can just make a small difference in the lives that I come into contact, and the same thing with me, they can make that difference for me too, that I will hopefully be doing what I'm supposed to be doing in life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, tell us a bit about your family. You mentioned your husband and daughter. Is that your only child? How many children
I
do you
have 2 children, yes. So my husband is Tim Carr. He actually works in Cookeville at FlowServe, and we've been married now for almost 20 years ourselves. And then my children, Amelia and Libby, they go to Upperman Middle School. They are in basketball right now. Of course, we're like everybody else running around here, there, and everywhere. And my mom and my dad still live in Moss, Tennessee.
Okay.
And my sister and her husband and family, they live in Salina still.
Yeah.
So it was difficult when my husband and I got married for me to move. It's just 45 minutes, but it's still hard, not always being right there with your family. But we still manage. We still, travel back and forth as often as we can.
Oh, yeah.
And then his family, my mother-in-law and father-in-law and sister, they live in Baxter. His mom and dad do, and his sister lives in Cookeville with their family. So, yeah, that's our little close network family there.
Made a lot of trips to Salina covering basketball games and football games.
Yes.
So yes, back when it was in the old gym, and then they moved to the new school, and so yeah, it was great. Well, now that you've been teaching for a while, what do you think are some of the things that you really love about teaching?
Oh, that when you finally see their little lights come on, and I've told the younger teachers that I've been able to mentor over the years and stuff, and I told them, I was like, wait for it. I was like, if they're not there yet, it'll start to get a little brighter, and then all of a sudden, boom, overnight, it will be the brightest light you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it anything other than that, that process, that when they're ready for it. Like I've explained to the parents that, we can practice, we can teach, we can do all of those things, but until that child is ready for those skills, we're helping them get there.
Right.
But it's based on when they're ready for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not on our terms.
Right.
And that's hard. That's hard to deal with when we want everything instantly. But that's one of the most rewarding things when you've worked with a child all along, and then all of a sudden they get it and they're ready for it.
Right.
And just that experience with them, also the connection that you get to make, not only with the children themselves, but also with their families. It's very hard on parents, some parents to entrust others with their children.
It is.
And to be a mother and to have that expectation for my children to be able to be in someone else's hands, that takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And so you build your own community within your classroom family, based on all of those experiences that you have.
Right. Well, now that you've been in education for 19 years, what do you think are some of the challenges that you face?
Like in one of my questions on the interview, many of the challenges that I have seen, of course, over the years, when children come to school, sometimes they have a lot of baggage that comes with them,
Yeah.
and that's not that child's problem, but it is that child's problem all at the same time.
Right. It's something they have to deal with.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have to deal with it day in and day out, and it's so amazing how resilient some children are
Yeah.
of all of the things that they face at home, and how they're able to come to school and to love being there. And again, that is their safe place sometimes.
Mhm.
And I'm not speaking for everybody. You know, there are lots and lots of children that are so blessed and
Oh, yeah.
have everything that they could possibly want and then some, just like our own children, you know.
Yeah.
But the children that do have a lot of baggage that come to school, that is the biggest barrier, to know how to help them be what they need to be,
Mhm.
and also to help the families be what they need to be.
Right.
Just because some families, and we've the poverty simulation that we did years ago,
Yeah.
when we went through that, that's so eye-opening because they just can't get out of that cycle.
Yeah.
And how to help those families, and to know that it's okay to say, hey, I need help.
Right.
And that's so hard sometimes to put that barrier down and to ask for help. But, you know, to know that there are resources out there if they will just let us know how we can help them.
Sure.
Also, with the children that have had those instances, you know, one of the things I mentioned that I would like to really help focus on,
Mhm.
is how we can not only help the immediate families,
Mhm.
but also everyone that's involved with that family
Mhm.
and that child. Like, you know, when they go to the doctor's office, you know, when they're getting their checkups, if they're getting their checkups,
Right.
and if there's something that maybe that family doesn't know how to word in a way of, I don't know if my child's struggling or not, kind
Sure.
of thing, before they even come to school.
Yeah.
You know, those early intervention things of how we can get, you know, the state, the doctors, the educate, everyone working together for the betterment of that child and helping them before they get into the school system, if that's a possibility. That's what I would really like for us to be able to get to a point. I know it probably won't ever be perfect,
Sure.
and I know we're going in the right direction, but just ways that we can help all of the pieces of the puzzle for that child to be able to be successful and to grow up into a citizen one day and be able to share and do in their own families.
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, you know, Christmas is right around the corner. First graders have to be getting excited about Christmas.
Yes.
Are you losing them right now as we're getting
Well,
closer to the Christmas break?
that, you know, they're troopers. Of course, you know, the kids, again, they're resilient no
Yeah.
matter what scenario is going on. They can overcome a lot better than
Oh,
adults.
sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
so with Christmas approaching, yes, they're excited. We've got our Christmas tree up. We've got we do in first grade, we do little stocking stuffers, and they bring them in, and we get to put them in their little stockings or their bags that we
Yeah.
will then share on that day. And one little child brought in something the other day, and he said, "Now we can't open this until our Christmas party." I said, "Okay." And then so I put it to the side. He said, "Oh yeah, those are supposed to go in the stockings for that day."
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but yes, of course, at this time of the year, everybody
It
is
is great.
just,
Yeah.
you know,
So sweet.
excited,
Yes.
and they're, you know, they're still going strong in their learning
Right.
of what we do every day. And so just trying to balance that out, and
Mhm.
all the extras that will be going on, especially next week, to try to get us our last full week before we go on break. But yeah, they're doing great.
Well, certainly appreciate you and the time that you've put into the Putnam County school system, and for your dedication and the passion that you have for teaching. Obviously, you love your kids, you
Mhm.
love what you do, and it's just so refreshing to see teachers who want their kids to learn. And not just that. I mean, I'm sure every teacher wants their kids to learn, but
Yeah.
you know, you just go about it in such a sweet and kind way that it's no wonder that you are the District Teacher of the Year. So congratulations again
Thank
for
you.
that. And joining us now is Miss Taylor Dyer from All Good Middle School. And Taylor, congratulations on being the District Teacher of the Year. How did that hit you when we came in there with the prize patrol and gave your balloons and your candy and all the good stuff.
It was shocking. I was so excited. I didn't think I was going to get it. So I just, seeing all you guys come in, I felt shocked, but equal parts excited.
And
So,
your students were excited.
yeah, they were very excited. They loved the balloons. When you guys left, I had to actually cut the balloons off so that they could play with them.
Yeah.
So it was great. I didn't share the
That's
chocolate.
the things
though.
you have to do as a teacher, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to share your rewards.
Exactly.
Well, tell us about your situation at Allgood Middle. You work at Allgood Middle, but yet you work with some special ed
Preschoolers, yes.
Yeah.
So that makes me a little bit of an outlier. Like you said, I am in a middle school. I've been in a middle school since I graduated college. I was fortunate enough when I graduated in December of 2013 that January the SPED pre-K room opened up at Allgood Middle School. Tim Martin was the principal, and I was so nervous, but I loved it. And I've always loved being in a middle school with preschoolers because everybody's so kind to us, and I feel like we get to do a little bit more just because we're in a middle school.
Right.
So, and to be recognized by my peers as not only a special education teacher but a preschool teacher meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Like that, something that it held a lot of value for me. So I was very thankful for that.
Yeah, and just talking about the whole process, I mean, you were elected by your peers to be the Allgood Middle School Teacher of the Year, which put you in the running for the District Middle School Teacher of the Year. You had to come through a rigorous interview with some people.
Yes, that was very intimidating walking into that panel. That was actually my first experience with the panel interview.
Oh, it was fun. You did great.
Yeah, but it all the questions were things that I can answer naturally. So, and just speaking about what I do, it's something I'm really passionate about. So it was easy to speak on that. So
now, how did you get into the teaching profession?
So, like most kids, I loved playing teacher growing up. And then when I was in high school, so I've always loved kids. I've always loved being a help. I've always loved kids. I graduated from Cookeville High School, and I was fortunate enough when I attended Cookeville High School, I was able to be an intern in their inclusion pre-K classroom.
Okay.
I worked under the head teacher when I first started. My sophomore year was Lisa Carver. And then my junior or senior year, Allison Painter took over. So I got to work under her and watch the way she ran her classroom. And I absolutely loved it. I loved working with kids with disabilities. I loved working with gen ed kids. It was just amazing. And so I knew going into college, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. There was no thinking, going back and forth on majors. Like, no, this is what I wanted to do. Yeah. And I knew, so I got my degree in pre-kindergarten through third.
Was that at Tennessee Tech?
Yes, at Tennessee Tech with an endorsement in special education. I did my student teaching under Cindy Brown at Baxter Elementary School, who was that was an amazing experience. I learned so much. And I remember when I saw this job pop up for the SPED pre-K at Allgood, I was so nervous. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to apply for that. Yeah. And then, you apply for jobs, but you're like, you don't know if you'll get it. You don't know if you'll even get an interview. Right. And then I got called for an interview. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then my fiance at the time and I, now husband, were driving to go see my parents in Northern Kentucky. Like right after the interview, we drove. And I remember being like, oh gosh, what have I done? What if I get this job? What if I can't do it? And then I got the call that I got the job. Yeah. And then it was like, okay. And it has just been, luckily, Tanya Wheeler, Shay Roberson, they all had faith in me. Tim Martin had faith in me. Yeah. And I love it. I've never wanted to go anywhere else. I've never wanted to do anything else. I just genuinely love what I do. Yeah. So
I think people can see your enthusiasm and your passion for the job. How long have you been at Allgood Middle?
11 years.
11 years.
That's the only school I've ever worked at. I feel very, very fortunate. Yeah, it's the only school I've ever been at. So.
Yeah. Wow, that's outstanding. So what do you think is going to happen? They're talking about turning the old Parkview into a pre-K center. So how will that affect you?
Well, so we'll go to Parkview as a pre-K school, and I'm really excited about that. I know there's a lot of apprehension. I know there's a lot of people are scared or change because change is scary. Right. But I can remember back when I first started teaching, it was hard being in a middle school and not having support of like peers or colleagues. Because, like your 6th grade teachers have their team, your 7th grade teachers have their team. I didn't have my team. All my team was scattered. Yes. And so I think there's going to be a lot of value in being in a building with people that know what they're doing and that know what you're going through. I think that's going to be very special. It will be very hard to leave Allgood Middle School. Yeah. But I think sometimes change is good, and I think overall it's going to be a positive thing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Now tell us a bit about your background.
So I was born in, we're talking about like growing up. Okay. I was born in really funny, Paintsville, Kentucky, which is where not far from Loretta Lynn was born. And then also where Tyler Childress was born. I lived there for like 8 weeks though. So that's just my only claim to fame. And then we moved here because all my family was from here. Grew up in the Putnam County school system. Absolutely love the Putnam County school system. And as I, moved through, I had a lot of amazing teachers. I mean, there's very few teachers that I can look back on and think that wasn't a positive experience. Like overall, I had a wonderful experience. I did my elementary years at Baxter Elementary School. I had some really good teachers there, especially Miss Thompson. My 3rd grade teacher was amazing. And then we moved to Cookeville, and I went to Prescott, and I had Miss Travis as my 5th grade teacher.
The old
and
Prescott.
Again, yes, the old Prescott. And again, I mean, it was just, like I said, I had some really amazing teachers. And, it kind of, you're like, I kind of would like to do that. You know what I mean? And you see, your teacher's happy, your teacher's loving on kids.
Right.
And that kind of filled my bucket.
Yeah.
And, really drove me to want to do this.
Absolutely.
So I have been blessed. I've had a lot of really good teachers along the way.
Has there been one particular one that has really stood out, kind of a mentor since you've been in the teaching profession?
Oh, so since I've been in the teaching profession, I have to say some of my biggest mentors that come to my mind is Jennifer Peak at Sycamore Elementary School. She has been just not only somebody that I can go to if I'm confused about something or need help, or even like somebody safe that if you have a frustration, you can just be like, how am I going to handle this, or what's going on? But also a cheerleader who is somebody that is going to lift you up and help you when you need it, and also be like, hey, you might want to change this, or maybe this isn't working. Just somebody that's just wholeheartedly good and loves what they do. I mean, she truly has been just ever since I started. I remember the first time I met her at a PLC, and I was a brand new baby teacher, wet behind the ears, scared, doe-eyed, not knowing what I was doing. And she walks into this PLC and was just so warm and welcoming. And I thought, wow, that's like, I knew she was going to be somebody I could lean on. And to this day, I mean, we text almost every day about stuff going on at school and what we're doing with our students. Yeah. And she's been a huge help and a great friend. So,
what do you think is the most rewarding part of your job?
So the most rewarding, there's several, but I have to say one of my favorite, and the thing that just keeps me going every day, is seeing the progress kids make, especially our babies with disabilities that come in and that don't have functional communication skills or really struggle with social skills, and seeing them grow from when they start at 3. Yeah. Because with special education, we get kids as they qualify at 3. Right. And sometimes we can keep them till 5 or 6. It just depends on the need of the child. Sure. And like one particular student last year that I had that's now in kindergarten, we started a communication device with, and that's, something that can help kids learn to talk, and it's very valuable. And watching this baby, when this baby first started with me at 3 to now, I mean, well, let me know how they're feeling using their device functionally. And like over the summer, they wanted to go to the pizza slice, and they were able to use their device to say pizza parlor and let their mama know. Oh. And just knowing that, seeing kids go from like kind of locked in their little shells and not having those capabilities to being able to do that. Yeah. Or find a friend and play on the playground, or go from nonverbal, not potty trained, very low, to go into general education kindergarten with very little support. That's a huge deal. Yeah. And it changes the trajectory of their life, but then also changes their parents' life, and for the better. Yeah. So that's something that I'm just watching kids grow.
What about challenges?
I think some of the biggest challenges are behavior. I mean, because, we got babies, they're 3, and being 3 is hard. Yeah. I don't care if you're typical developing or if you have a disability. Right. Yes. Being 3 is hard. And then if you spend all your time at home with mama, and then all of a sudden you get dropped down in this pre-K with people you don't know, you're like, holy smokes. And so, but it's all a part of the job. I say it's the most challenging part, but it's a part that I don't want to say enjoy, but it's an aspect of my job that is challenging. But working through that with this child, learning what makes them tick, making them feel comfortable and loved at school, and getting over those hurdles. So at the front end, it's a challenge, but overcoming that challenge and getting to the other side and just making that kid feel safe and loved at school is a big deal. Right. So
what's a typical day look like for you?
So my kiddos start coming in anytime around 7:30, 7:45. They come in, they find their name. We use our communication device. I've got every student, whether they need it or not, I have their picture on the communication device. So they find their name on the board, and then I'll say, what's your name? And they'll find their name on the device. And because a lot of kids can't even tell me what their name is. So that's a way to incorporate that. And we do some table stuff, like little tabletop toys, and then we go to breakfast, and then we come back and we do circle time, which is a lot of music and movement. I do a lot more dancing than I thought I would, but that's okay.
It keeps you young.
It keeps me young. A lot of music and movement, and then we do like our little workstations, and we do a lot of visual schedules in my classroom, a lot of visuals, and I like to keep things very developmentally appropriate, because it's still they're little, they're pre-K,
right?
And I really scaffold my expectations by age. My 3-year-olds, they have 3-year-old expectations because they're 3.
Right.
As they start moving to 4 and 5, we start really, getting ready for kindergarten and laying a little bit more expectations on them. And so we really go by the fair doesn't always mean equal saying in my classroom, because all my learners are on different levels.
Right.
And my kids are so good about recognizing that. So we do a lot of academics, recess centers. We do a lot of sensory stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then at 1 o'clock we lay down for a nap, and you go, exactly.
It's nap time.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you were a young teacher once, just fresh, in the school system. What would be the advice you would give to somebody, say, out of college that's wanting to come and be a teacher?
I think my advice would be fight the good fight and don't give up, because your first year is going to be hard. And I don't care what job you're in. Your first year is hard. I can remember my first year on the way to school every morning being like, what have I got myself into? And that's something I always tell new teachers, is your first year is going to be hard. But it's a good hard. It's a learning hard.
Right.
And then every year after that's going to get a little bit easier, a little bit easier. And then you're going to hit those weird years where it's a little bit funky, but you just power through. And you really keep your eye on the prize, which is the kids and the growth. You keep your eye on that. And sometimes there's going to be a lot of noise in your building. There's going to be things that go on. And you know what? You just have to tune it out and love on the babies and just know this is why you're here. And just keep your eye on that. And so, like I said, just power through, fight the good fight, and because it's worth it. I mean, I've never felt like it hadn't been worth it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Taylor Dyer, the all good pre-K special ed teacher, who is the middle school teacher of the year. It was her, her peers said, it doesn't matter if you teach pre-K or not, you're at the middle school, you're our teacher of the year.
That was a huge deal to me.
Yeah.
So that really meant a lot to me.
Well, congratulations. And thank you for your dedication and what you do for Putnam County Schools. And I think it's obvious that you love your kids and
Very much.
Love what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Jessica Jackson, the high school teacher of the year, couldn't be with us this week. She's a little under the weather, but she will be back for this next week. So we'll get to hear from her. We do have someone with us who is Capshaw Elementary's Teacher of the Year, and that is Hannah Ledbetter, formerly known as Hannah Goolsby, who was a basketball standout at Cookeville High and Tennessee Tech. Hannah Ledbetter joins us now, and Hannah, basketball season has tipped off. It's been a few years since you played, but do you miss it?
I do miss it. I occasionally go to some of the Cookeville High School games when we can, and especially some of the Sparta games. And last year we went to some of the district games, and it's definitely harder to watch it than play, but I still enjoy going and supporting all the younger ones up there.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Basketball was a big part of your life for a long time. Your career at Cookeville High School and then at Tennessee Tech. What was it like, not going to practice, not, playing, not doing that anymore?
It was definitely a culture shock for me too. Just getting used to, having all this free time, and I actually helped coach for a couple of years, and then I had 2 boys, and so now I just teach and take care of them. And luckily, just like I said, going back and going to some of those games, it still kind of stays in my, daily routine to see some of that. But
do you offer any advice,
to the
coach or any players?
I just think enjoy every second, because I just remember in high school and even in college, they would say, it's going to go by so fast.
Yes.
And, in the moment of long practices and long travels and hard games, you don't feel like you feel like it's it's drug out, but before you know it, it's over and you'll never do it again. And and you'll miss it.
Well, you kind of have a new career now. Of course, you're teaching at Capshaw, and you were named the Capshaw Teacher of the Year. I'm sure that's, you were used to getting honors on the basketball court. What about something like that?
When they had told me that, I was just in complete shock and just very grateful, and that I am a part of such a great school and family, and that, everybody there at Capshaw has helped me from day one, and just kind of like being a part of a team. They've all helped me get to where I am today.
And now, what grade do you teach?
I teach first grade.
First grade,
Yeah.
Have you taught first grade the whole time?
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you like that?
First grade, I feel like is the sweet spot. Now I say that, but I've never taught any other grade. But
why change if you like
right.
it?
That's right. They're independent. They love you, and they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you've always, I know you wanted to be a basketball player, but you probably, from what I understand, wanted to be a teacher for a long time too.
Yes, I did. Yes. So my grandmother taught for 30 plus years at Allgood Elementary, first grade, I think some second grade too. And I'm not sure if it's just it's coming from her or what, but I would always teach to my stuffed animals, and I would make my grandma be one of the students as well, and have my whiteboard up there too. So it's definitely always been something that I wanted to do.
Well, how's teaching first graders as opposed to stuffed animals?
Well, they're a lot more opinionated than stuffed animals, but they're more fun. Yeah.
Well, tell us about your family. I know you said you had 2 boys, but tell us about your family.
Okay. I have a 4-year-old, Hudson, and then I have an almost 2-year-old. His name's Hayden.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they going to play?
I think so.
They're going to be athletic?
I think so. Hudson's kind of getting into the baseball and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good.
Hudson, you can't do that. Go.
And he's here with us.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, do you ever go to any Tennessee Tech basketball games?
I do. Yeah, I do. We try to go. We start out going to Purple Palooza. And let both of my boys trick or treat, and then when we're kind of available and they're at home, we'll go to that. And my kids love the Golden Eagle, and just I miss that too. Yeah, the college experience.
Making that transition from high school to college, some players can make it, some never get the opportunity. What was it like for you to make that transition from being, just an awesome high school player into the college ranks?
It was a much bigger step than I expected.
Really?
Just as far as balancing the work and practice and traveling on a bus for 8 hours and then getting off and going straight to your 8 a.m. class. And not only the academic part, but also just the basketball part of it, meaning like the competition. And, you're going into college right out of high school playing seniors who are 18 years old. And so that was a big, just trying to get adjusted to that. Playing against people who were so much more advanced and had been there for 4 years. But eventually you do get adjusted.
So you've played against some big players. You've done a lot of these things. How does being a mom compare with, playing a sport?
Well, I think just the same way as playing a sport, just being able to manage everything and being able to do things with your hands full and time-consuming stuff and things like that. But I feel the same thing with teaching too, just being a part of a team. All that it's just life lessons that you've learned and have, crossed over to your job.
Do you bring that team concept into the classroom?
I feel like I do. And, even my first grade team at Capshaw, we're just a great team. We always say that, and we're always talking to each other like, hey, do you want to use this? Hey, I have this. Do you want it? And it's just a great school culture to be around, and just feels like I'm a part of another team.
So do you have a basketball goal at home?
I do. We have one outside, and then we have one that goes over the door.
Okay.
Yeah, and one in their bathtub.
There you go. So basketball is still very much a big part of your life.
It is. Yes. Yeah.
Any big plans for the holidays?
Just hanging out with some family and eating multiple times a day and just relaxing with everybody in the family and catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to see Cookeville High's team this year yet?
I haven't. Not yet.
Yeah.
They have their alumni event this weekend. And then
you're going to be playing in that?
I'm not going to be playing in that because,
what?
Well, 2 years ago, I was playing in a women's league and broke my leg.
Oh my goodness.
So,
sometimes you got to realize that, Time catches up.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be over there supporting all the other alumni playing.
Yeah, sometimes our minds think that our bodies can still do some things. Yes.
That's right. Never had an injury until then.
How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hannah Ledbetter, first grade teacher at Capshaw and basketball standout with the Cookeville High Cavaliers and the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. Thank you so much for being with us, and have a happy holiday.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right.
Yep.
And that's a wrap on the PCS Connection this week. Be sure to check out our social media pages at Facebook and Instagram. You can also check out our YouTube channel, which of course this is playing on, and all of our PCSS Connection episodes. That's going to do it for this week. God bless everybody, and stay warm.